Welcome to Passion and Profit. If you're a small business owner or solo entrepreneur, this episode is for you. It would not only help you achieve your business goals, but it will also help you enjoy the process. Let's get started.
Entrepreneurship is hard. It is not for the faint of heart. So you are really making a commitment to yourself and to the people around you. So you really need to understand, what is it that's going to keep me going on those days where I'm like, this is tough. That's going to be your why.
Passion and Profit with your host, Dalmith Morales, the podcast for makers and manufacturers. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host, Dalmith. This podcast is created by Inventora, the all-in-one inventory system for makers and manufacturers. Today, we're going to be talking about the key mindset shifts to kickstart your entrepreneurial journey with Krystal. She has been with Inventora for a while. We have been working together with her, and it's been amazing. She is the CEO and founder of the innovative jewelry storage line BOOKofBIJOUX. I hope I said that right.
You got it.
And then she, shortly after launching the company in 2021, she expanded into their community platform, Empowered by Women. So this has been allowing her to hyper-focus on the brand's core value of women empowerment, community over competition, and giving back. So I know that Krystal has a lot of experience and can tell us a lot about entrepreneurship and having a business. So Krystal, thank you so much for being here. We're so happy to have you.
Hey, Dalmith, I am so grateful to be here, and I am loving how this partnership continues to unfold and all of the fun things that we get to do together. So I'm so grateful that you all have created this podcast to give us more opportunity to chat, because I always love chatting with you. So thank you for having me.
No, we're so excited. I know that your mindset has always been helping others. And we also do that with Inventora. We always look for having topics and talk about topics that really help us to deal with our own small business and being women and all that comes with it. So today, I know that it's so important to have a mindset to start in the entrepreneur life. So can you explain a little bit about that, like the importance of having a good mindset for this?
Yeah, absolutely. And this really stems to my own personal entrepreneurial journey, of course, right? So to give you a little background, I really had the entrepreneurial itch since I was in high school. But when I launched BOOKofBIJOUX, and kudos to you for pronouncing it correctly, when I launched BOOKofBIJOUX in 2021, or actually let's take it back, when I had the idea the company in 2020, I really took that time to do a lot of self-reflection before really diving into the business. And, we have a podcast on our end too for Empowered by Women. And one thing that I like to ask is, what tips do you have for other entrepreneurs? That's what I ask our guests. And a lot of times the tip is, just do it, just get started. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. But I do think there's that kind of key underlying little step that you'd have to take before you dive into it. And that is really setting time aside to focus on your mindset, because that is what is laying the foundation for when you do go ahead and take that leap to just do it. And there has been so many instances already within this past few years where I've recognized how much work I put into my mindset has allowed me to keep going, right? Has continued to fuel my fire and give me that extra boost when I'm feeling a little low, or, something pops up that I wasn't expecting to pop up. So it's, I think, critical to really have a good mindset in place when you're getting started out. Obviously, as you progress through your entrepreneurial journey, more and more things are going to come into play, right? And the things that you need to focus on or shift into your mindset, those are all going to change as you go on. But I feel like these are the 5 things that I really focused on that I think can really apply to anyone that's just getting started, to make sure they have that foundational I can do this before actually doing it.
Yeah, that I think that makes so much sense. I think when we start, we just have that passion and excitement that sometimes we say, "No, I'm gonna be fine. Everything is gonna be perfect, and I'm in the right place." But like you mentioned, having a time to just sit down and say, "Okay, what is the importance of of having a good mindset to concentrate in the things that really need that I need to focus on in my business, and also to have a healthy mindset, right? Not to overwhelm with all of the things that are going to come with having a business. So I think if we have that in mind since the very beginning, is going to be very helpful, but also healthy for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, so should we just dive into it, to all of these different things?
I'm so curious about all of that because even if we are already with our business running and all of that, I think it's so important to learn more on how can we be better for our business. So I'm super excited
Yes.
to hear that.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely agree. Like I said, mindset is not something, it's not a one and done thing where you like spent a month focusing on it and you're like, okay, did that, check that off the list. It's going to be this ever evolving thing. So if you are listening to this and you realize that's not really something that I've focused on before, like maybe it is something that you can incorporate into your mindset and into your daily routine and how you're running your business to kind of get that firmer grasp on where you are emotionally and how you're handling your business. But to kick it off, the first thing I would say is clarity. And this it can feel a little overwhelming, I think, to some people, because especially if you're just starting out, because you're like, how am I supposed to have clarity on anything when I'm just getting started? But I'm not telling you, like, you should know all of the little steps to get to where you want to be and have your 5-year plan laid out and know how to like list your business or whatever and get all these permits. And you don't need to know everything off of the top of your head. When I'm talking about clarity, I want you to really reflect on, why is it that you're doing what you're doing? What is it that you want? What is the end goal? Why are you going into business, and what kind of business is it? You need to have at least some kind of faint understanding of, this is what I want to do and this is why I want to do it, right? Because when you're you're starting to lay that groundwork, so you're giving yourself some kinds of path to follow, and it doesn't have to be clear cut, right? There are so many gurus and resources that you can use that will lay out all those paths for you, but you are a unique individual. Your business is going to be the exact same way. And I think a lot of it is really intuition that you need to follow that will help you continue to lay that groundwork, but you still need some kind of idea of where you want to be. And then clarity in the why, that is absolutely something that you can do now, that you can have now. So just sitting back and reflecting, what is this all going to bring me? Like, entrepreneurship is hard. It is not for the faint of heart. So you are really making a commitment to yourself and to the people around you. So you really need to understand, like, what is it that's going to keep me going on those days where I'm like, ugh, this is tough. That's going to be your why. So get clarity on that. Is it because you have a family and you want to create financial freedom? You want time freedom, right? To spend more time with them, to go on trips with them. Or maybe you don't have kids and you still want to travel the world and create that financial freedom. Maybe it's impact that you want to create. Maybe you recognize the need that there is in the world and you really want to make a difference. Knowing what your why is, that's really what's going to fuel all of those little decisions you make in figuring out, okay, what's the next step? Where do I want to take this business? What direction should I go in? Again, you don't need to know all of the steps, but at least kind of have some understanding of where you want to go, why you want to go there, and then everything in the middle will kind of fall into place and fall into alignment when you're really sticking with your intuition and falling back on the why and, the end goal. So that's the first thing, clarity.
Okay. So I'm curious about Did you know this since you started, or you figured this out when you were in the business already?
Um, so both, right? Because it's an evolving process. So when I launched Book of Bijou, I had an idea of like, okay, this is like a jewelry organizer thing that I love, and I want to be able to, take care of all the creative details and design all of these other like jewelry storage or fashion related items that could double as home decor. That's kind of like my cloud of thoughts, right? That's my end goal. That's what I want to do. And then also immediately, I knew I wanted to create some kind of community. I was like itching and craving for that. So that was in my mind. I didn't know what exactly that was going to look like. It's still growing to this day. We're completely revamping our Empowered by Women membership and all the perks. And I think that's really the fun of it, right? In the journey when you get to like start deciding all those little details. But I knew I wanted to create a community and support other women. That was the end goal, right? And knowing that has allowed me to really decide, what is worth my time and what's not. It's preventing me from getting lost in this world of opportunities that I think us as entrepreneurs, we can often get so caught up in, and we're like tumbling around in the hundreds of different ideas because that's who we are as creatives, right? We want to tackle everything. We want to do everything. We have so many brilliant ideas that just need to be shared with the world. But it goes back to what my mission is, and that's to create a really great community. And then why? Why am I doing this? It's to support other women. So when I'm deciding, does this feel right for my business? Is this a proper next step? I'm asking myself all of those questions. Does it support the women that I want to support? Does it support them in the way that I had envisioned supporting them? And then also, part of my why is my children and being able to kind of expose them to that opportunity. So I also am constantly thinking about how they can get involved or what I can do to kind of bring them into the picture, or have the little things that I'm doing trickle back down to them in the way that I am a mother to them and the way I show up as to my family. So it's like a guiding light, really. That's what it is. But again, those middle steps, those are going to be ever changing, and it's important to be able to embrace that process.
Absolutely. And now that you put it that way, I think it's going to be the essence of your business, and the main purpose, and whether you're going to change a little bit the things that how things are going to be done, like in the progress of having the business. But that seed that you put into the first months of your business is going to be the same. So I think, like you said, it's going to be that motivation that keeps you going throughout the years. So I love that. And I think clarity is like a key factor in life, in business, and in everything.
Yeah. And I will reiterate once more that it doesn't mean you need to know everything
Yeah.
all at once. There are going to be so many moments and so many resources you're going to be able to gain further clarity and really dive into all of those little things that you've already set aside for yourself, or set ahead for yourself. So just have some general understanding of where you want to go and why you want to get there. And that is such a great starting point to figure out what your next step is.
I love that. So I want to hear the next point. I'm so curious.
Yes. So the next one is a profound belief in yourself, in your product, in your service. Obviously, if you don't know what your product or service is, then it really is key to just have that profound belief in you, right? And this is going to be so key when you inevitably come across the people that don't resonate with what you're doing. They don't understand your vision. They have some negative things to say. Everybody comes across it, right? Everybody comes across the no, or why are you doing that? Or I don't understand what you're doing. Or they get the little looks and, judgments, even if it's not directly to them. You really need to be in a place with yourself where you're like, I can do this. Like, I am legit. I don't know if I can curse, but I'm the poop, right? And this was actually something that I said to myself when I started. I was like, you know what? I was like reflecting on my whole 25 years, almost 30 years, and like, I am really smart. Like, I can do this. I am really creative. I'm going to start betting on myself. I believe in my ability to do all these things that I'm going to be setting out for myself to do. And of course, like I said, there's going to be those naysayers. But if you so strongly believe in yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Everyone has this different opinion of you. Like no two people have the same exact opinion of you. So you really need to be grounded in yourself, the way you feel about yourself, and recognize that that's really all that matters at the end of the day. And then when it comes to having a profound belief in your product or your service, once you know what that is, so critical to make sure that you are able to share that belief about whatever it is that you're offering. Because if you don't have that belief in what you're offering, it's going to shine through, right? People are going to be like, you don't even know if you want to use this product. Like, why would I use it? And it shines through that authenticity, whether you're trying to hide it or fake it or whatever, people can see through it. And you really need to be so grounded in why you believe in what you're doing and share that with the world. And a big thing that we do is really building community and sharing that excitement and that passion and that belief that I have in our mission has allowed other people around us to see it and to feel it and to also get excited about it and want to join in that mission and be a part of our community. So that's where, the profound belief comes into play. And also not even just, people say things, even when things just don't work out the way that you hope they do, right? Maybe if you do have a product and you go to a market and you don't make that many sales, like that doesn't mean that you're not meant for this, that people don't like what you're doing, that they don't like what you put out into the world. If you really believe in your product, that is going to give you the motivation to keep showing up and to get it in front of the right people. Maybe rethink your branding or whatever your pricing if that's what you need to do, but it's going to prevent you from being like, nope, this is trash. I'm trash. Yeah. I'm just not going to do it. Because you do have that profound belief, and that's something that's so unbreakable that you are going to keep showing up until you get to where you want to be.
That's so important to have in mind even when something goes wrong. That, believe me, if you are a small business owner or if you plan to be, just have that in mind that some things are going to be wrong. Like, if everything can happen. So believing in yourself, it's so important because you're the one who is behind the brand. So if you don't know exactly why are you doing it, and if you don't know if you would really use the products that you sell, your business is not going to have the value that you are thinking that it has in your mind. So if you put that value on it and if you believe it, people are going to start saying, oh my gosh, I love it. I want it because she's using it, and look how passionate she is about the product or service. So I think that connection is the one that creates an engagement, and also how you can start creating a community. And also when you started talking about like giving up and all of that with the competition, right now it's also so hard to do that, and that can also make us lose our trust in ourselves, because you're going to see a lot of people probably doing the same things that you do, and that can be okay, make you think like, okay, maybe that's not something that I really need to do because a lot of people is doing it, or she's better than me, or a lot of thoughts can come into our mind that can make us give up. But I think, like you said, community is so important that you can, instead of looking at other brands as a competition, you can say, okay, maybe I can message her and say what has been working for you in your business, and that's how the community starts to create more value instead of just judging or instead of just giving up because you look them as a competition, right?
Yes, that perceived value, you hit it right on the nose. And it's really, it comes down to how are you going to convince anyone of its value if you can't even convince yourself? Right. So that's in its simplest terms, you really need to have that profound belief in yourself, your product, your service, whatever it is. And then that kind of segues into number 3,
Mhm.
which is self-awareness. So one of the things with Book of Bijou that has been like the biggest hurdle that we're still trying to kind of jump through all these hoops and things is our manufacturing. Um, it's been tough. It's been tough since launch. But again, I have that profound belief in our product and what we're doing. I do 100% believe that there are other people out there in the world that want it and that are waiting to see it come to fruition. So that's what's keeping me going through all of these manufacturing delays that we've been experiencing and these difficulties. I know that my end goal is to get it out there, right? I'm sharing this with the world because I so believe in what I've designed. Um, Self-awareness comes into play in this regard because the manufacturing, I would say hiccup, but I feel like that's underestimating it a lot. The problems that we've experienced with our manufacturing, they came pretty early on into our Book of Bijou. Oh my gosh, I can't even say it now. Book of Bijou journey, and it took me by surprise, which is kind of weird because part of my mindset journey, like one of the things that I continued to say to myself before I even really took the leap was that eventually things are not going to go my way and I need to be able to handle that. That was part of my mindset, right? So when things finally didn't go my way, I was surprised at how early that happened, but I wasn't surprised that it happened. So in that moment, of course, it was very emotional for me. It felt like the lowest point of my entrepreneurial journey thus far. And my mindset again came into play, and I really needed to focus on how aware I was of how I was responding, right? What was going to be my next step? And was that next step based on my emotions or based on what was best for the business? And you really need to be able to differentiate that, right? Because sometimes we, as humans, we do want to react just kind of impulsively and emotionally to certain things, but that in the long run can not mean great things for our business. That could reflect on us as business owners poorly. It can reflect on our business poorly. So you really need to have that emotional intelligence to kind of separate those things, take a step back, and really look at the logic behind all, recognize who you are as a person and what you need to be able to take that step to calm yourself down and to be able to make the right choice for your business at the end of the day. Another thing, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, I was thinking about if it's a good idea to put some limits, like, because it's so easy when you start and you have a business to involve or lose your personal life and be more involved in the business, or it's hard to just cut that and say, okay, this is logical for my business, this is going to work, even if for my personal life or something for myself is not going to work, but this is good for my business. So do you think it's good to have limits in
I absolutely think it's so healthy to have boundaries, and that's really where your intuition is going to come to play and making sure that everything you're doing is in alignment. But that also goes back to our first point of clarity, right? What is it you're doing and why are you doing it? If your why, or a big part of your why doesn't have to be just one thing. If a big part of your why is your family, doing this for your family, and then you're recognizing, wow, I'm working like 16, 18-hour days. I'm constantly like saying no to all of my daughter's recitals or whatever. And you're recognizing that it's taking you so far away from your family. That's something that you need to reflect on and ask yourself, are these decisions that I'm making for my business actually aligns with why I'm doing this in the first place? And that might be the moment where you do need to sit back and rethink your boundaries, rethink the way that you're running your business so that you are staying true to that initial clarity that you had before you even got started.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It totally makes sense.
Yeah. And then another thing is to really be honest with yourself about this commitment that you're making, right? Like I said, entrepreneurship is hard. Everyone will say that. It's no secret. When you're taking that leap, you really are making a commitment to yourself, to the people around you, and you need to get real, like harshly honest with yourself and the amount of work you're willing to do, because you know yourself better than anyone else, right? I could hype you up all day, but if you know, like, no, I'm not willing to do that, I'm not willing to show up, I'm not willing to make those hard decisions, then that's something you really need to take into consideration. Okay, so if you're committing to taking this leap of faith and making this commitment to you and to your business, understand that, like, really believe that you can commit to that commitment, first of all, right? And I think in the long run, when you ever come across that fork in the road where everything seems like it's not going your way and you really are being tested by the universe, which you will be, you go back to that promise that you made to yourself. Like, I made this commitment to myself and I know that I can do it and I know that I could stay committed. So I'm going to honor that commitment and I am going to keep going. And you start showing up very authentically, right? Because you know who you are. You want to show up as you are. And as we were just saying, you go back to what is really aligned with everything that I had envisioned for myself. So, oh my God, the pregnancy brain just like kicked in real hard for a second. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is number 3. Moving on, we go into discipline. Now that you've made that commitment, now you actually have to start acting on your commitment, right? And you have to start showing up every day. And so this can be also another thing that's very overwhelming, because you might have people that are like, show up every day, post every day, come out with all these things. But discipline and showing up is different for everyone. So again, staying in line with the clarity that you set up for yourself. What is it that you're doing and why is it that you're doing it? That's really going to guide you in how you need to show up. And like I said, that can look different, but the important thing is that you have made that decision to do it. And now you're going to go ahead and do it. Okay. You've already said, I'm betting on myself. I really believe in myself or my product or my service. I know that I can do this. Now the next step is, okay, so do it. Even if it feels a little scary, even if it feels a little hard, you need to be disciplined to show up. When you're an entrepreneur, you are your own boss. There's no one micromanaging you and telling you what to do and keeping you on top of your deadlines. So you really need to be able to take that on and have that discipline to keep showing up, or show up the first time, and then have the consistency and the persistence to keep showing up, especially when times get hard. That could probably be like one of the biggest hurdles for entrepreneurs, right? That consistency and that discipline to keep showing up.
That's something that I always have in mind, because when you are your own boss, sometimes it's just like, I'm gonna do it later, or no, that's okay, this can wait for next month or next week. But then when you think that decision, you're going to say, okay, no, but if I don't do it, no one is going to do it, and my business is going to be dead, or it's not going to have the results that I want. So having discipline And I think the hardest part is consistency. It's key to make it work, to reach the goals that we want, to scale our businesses. And I think for this, it's very important as well lay to look for resources that can help us with this. So I think it's very important to not say I'm good with everything, because honestly we aren't, but having and look for resources that can help us with our email marketing, for example, or with our marketing strategies, something or so small, or with our inventory, for example. All of those resources that we can find that can help us and release all the tasks and to not feel overwhelmed, that can be something that is going to be a game changer, and it's going to keep you be more disciplined and consistent in your business.
Yeah, and I think this is where this is why self awareness is such a good leading point to that, because before you're even making the commitment to show up and how you're going to show up, you know what you're willing and not willing to do. So if you're making that commitment to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning to do this, this, and this, but you are not at all a morning person, when it comes to discipline, you're setting yourself up for failure, because that's not who you are. You really need to be honest about what you're willing to do for yourself and for your business. And, I love that you mentioned, being able to outsource all of that, delegate certain tasks. That's absolutely something that you can do as you continue to progress in your business. But when you're just starting out and it's you wearing all the hats and doing all the things,
Yeah.
set up something that's realistic. So when it comes to discipline, you are able to actually show up for yourself and do the things that you said you were going to do. So you're not stuck in this space where you're like, oh my God, like I don't want to do any of this, or this is a lot harder and I haven't done it these last 3 days, so might as well stop now. Make it attainable and make it something that feels right for you, so you can at least start building that momentum and continue having that discipline, continue showing up for yourself and your business until you could start taking on things that feel a little bit more daunting, or things that are a little bit more challenging, and slowly adding on to all these things that are on your to-do list or your expectations of yourself.
Yes. And I think it's important to have in mind that not what is working for you, it's going to work for me. So if you see another uh, business owner looking or doing a lot of things, and you say, wow, how much time does she has, and she's super good at it, but me, I can take uh, all the day to make just one task. And honestly, if that works for you, that's okay. So I think having that in mind and do like baby steps at the very beginning, it's so much better than trying to do all the things at once. And honestly, you're not going to be seeing any results, because you're not going to finish any of the tasks.
Right. Exactly. And the fact that you just said baby steps, and obviously I am starting to think of like how much it applies to having a baby, right?
Mm.
Your business is really kind of like your baby, and there's going to be all of those moments of growth, all of those different milestones that you're building up to, especially if you're a first-time mom. You don't know. You don't know how to do all the things. You don't know how to deal with a teenager. You don't even know how to potty train yet. But you don't need to know all of that right now. So all of those people talking about all of those tips for those certain milestones, yeah, that's great. Yeah, you'll want to know that at some point. But start where you are, right? You'll get there when you get there. Focus on the little things. Take those baby steps with your baby, whether it's your business or your actual baby, and you'll figure it out as you go.
Yeah, I love that.
And then the final thing is gratitude, which I love how the baby kind of like segued into it, because this is really where that mindset thing kind of took off for me with my babies. And I think gratitude is just such an important piece for any entrepreneur's journey. And this one is a little bit more like, it feels more self-reflective, and it feels like something that just feels really good. inside to be able to practice gratitude. So something that I try to do in the morning. I would love to get better at this. But in the morning, I do try to journal and just really think about all the things that I'm grateful for. And that allows me to show up with grace and with patience, whether it's with myself, with my business, with my family. And then when times get hard, you go back to your why and you go back to the gratitude piece. And it's about reframing everything that you're doing, right? You don't have to show up and deal with all of these things that you're dealing with. You don't have to show up and put out all these fires in your business, but you get to do it. You are so incredibly lucky to be in a position where you have the opportunity to go after your dreams, because not a lot of people are afforded that opportunity, right? Because they're so stuck in whatever they need to do, and they have to prioritize those, and they don't have the resources or the time or the emotional and physical support to go after all the things that they're going after. So whenever I've had my lows, that's always the mindset that I go back into. I am so grateful that I have the opportunity to even be in this position, to have to try to make these decisions to further my business and to further my why and to do these things for my babies. I am so grateful for my children. Despite how crazy they might make me sometimes, they continue to give me the fuel to keep going. They are such a good, what is the word? Repose? I don't know. I feel like that's completely not the word. But like break from my business, and they keep me grounded. And as hard as it is to juggle all the things and all the places and everything on your to-do list, I'm so grateful that I have them on my to-do list and that I have the support. And it keeps me in a headspace where I'm like, this is where I'm meant to be. And I know I'm going to continue working to find just the right alignment for me in the space that I'm currently in. But I'm so grateful for the space that I'm currently in and that I can continue to make those decisions. And it just kind of takes the stress away from a lot of things, a lot of times.
Absolutely. I think that point is so refreshing for us to just end the day or start the day saying, wow, I'm waking up with another opportunity in life. I have my business. With the so small details that you can be thankful for, and being in that position of being your own boss, uh, creating your own schedule, or I don't know, doing what you actually are passionate about. Because if you're in a corporate job to nine to five, sometimes you're just doing the task because you have to, because they are paying you for that. But when you have a small business and you are the owner, it's so simple to say, I'm loving this. I enjoy what I'm doing. And that is something that is such a benefit and something that not all of the people have. So I think to end the conversation with this key point is so refreshing. And just, I would like to, if you're listening, for you to take the time today or a time in your mornings just to say, why are you thankful for? Is so the gratitude that you have in your life right now. So that is the thing that is going to keep you, like you said, in like with your feet on the ground, and say, this is my motivation. This is why I love to do. Let's kick out the day and let's be the better person that I can today. So I think that's lovely. I loved it.
I love it too. I think that is a great end. And yes, absolutely. Just reminding yourself of all the amazing things that you've accomplished thus far, and that you even have the opportunity to keep on going and to keep on pursuing your dreams and being surrounded by all these amazing people that you're surrounded by. I love that. I'm going to go journal after this.
Yeah, me too. I think I haven't done that, so I think I can start. Well, thank you so much, Krystal, for your time. I don't know if you want to say any like last advice or something.
I really my mission is to just remind all of you women out there that you really are so capable, and not only capable, but so deserving of creating lives that you love. And for everyone that's not women, sorry, I'm so used to working with women, but obviously Inventora, you got the whole world at your fingertips. So everyone and anyone that is listening, just really know how amazing you are and know that you do deserve all the things that you want. And I hope that you continue going after it.
I love that. Thank you so much. So, everyone, there you have my conversation with Krystal. Go check out Krystal and her businesses in the link of the show notes. I hope you find this episode helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a follow, and if you like the episode, please share it with your friends. Thank you for being here, and until next time. If you're interested to learn more about Inventora to help with your inventory management, visit Inventora.com.